Welcome back, everybody. Coach's Corner back for another week. Hey, look who decided to show back up for us for week 2. James Williams of those Fort Bend Marshall Buffs and Shaun McDowell of the Foster Falcons. And of course, Dennis Silva II, my glorious co-host. I'm Josh Cook, managing editor of VYPE Media. And of course, we'll get to pick him later. Of course, Coach McDowell, we know you got him all right last week. He's so happy. He's like, give me the trophy. Give me the trophy already. 5-0 after week 1.
I need something.
Coach Williams hasn't moved that trophy from behind him. I'm just saying he's going to keep adding more awards into the background.
Yeah, I got to hold on to something back here. So
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's start this week off, guys, talking about your games from last week and preparing for this week. I know, Coach Williams, your team victorious over Eisenhower last week, and then Coach McDowell, your team falling a little short to Lamar Consolidated in the season opener. Both of y'all just kind of talk about the games, what your takeaways are, and then heading into week 2 of the season.
I'll go ahead and go. It's always good to get a win. We're excited. We appreciate every single win we get. We know how hard it is to get it, and we know how much these kids train, off season and during the week to get those victories. So you definitely take it in, even if it doesn't go the way you plan it to go. I'm very proud of our offense. They get out there and hit it. First play of the game, they scored. Minimum got going. We were up 21-0 in the first quarter and make some mistakes on defense. And I was telling the guys, we haven't given up 34 points in a long time, and so. It's something we definitely want to correct. We gave up. I mean, I'm the type of, I'm very optimistic. I take the positive out of everything we can, and the positive is our offense ran the ball very well. We have a physical identity. Our offensive line is very physical, and we run the ball, and that sets up everything else. And other guys making big plays defensively. And we gave up about 308 yards, but 210 of those yards came off of 3 plays. So if we keep the ball from getting over our head, if we protect those big plays, then we're playing some pretty good defense. So that's kind of things we're going to focus on this week and the fundamentals and keep trying to play physical football and keep it going. And by the way, we won. It's just 28-34 was the final score, and again, we were looking forward to a tough Elkins team. Being in the 5, we like to play 6-8 teams for our 9 districts. So this week we have Elkins on Thursday night. They're obviously always a good athletic, physical football team, and so we're looking forward to that match on Thursday, getting us ready for district.
Man, hats off to James Williams getting a win. You're right. It is tough. We took one on the chin a little bit versus Lamar Consolidated on Friday night. It was really tough. I thought that we had a chance to win. Hats off to Coach, and the coaching staff over there at Lamar. I think they did a great job, and we just didn't come out and execute. We had a few key drop balls, gave up some big plays on defense. Thought our special teams played well. Had a chance to win at the end through a pick late, just trying to make things happen. And just overall, we're a very, very young team. I would say 90% of the team hadn't even been on the varsity field yet. A little small senior class. So it's just a little bit of growing pains. I don't like to say we're rebuilding because we're not playing for next year. We're playing for right now. So we just got to get better. We saw some really good things versus Cy Creek in the scrimmage that we did not see happen in the real game. So we just got to go back to work. I mean, to win is hard. I think great programs like Marshall and hopefully us. We're not used to really losing, so we take losses really, really hard. But it also motivates us to work even harder. They always say you learn more from a loss than you do from a win. So we're definitely analyzing and not panicking, but we're definitely analyzing. But we got a long ways to go, and we just want to make sure we go back to work and get better this week. I think our guys understand now what it takes and probably will listen to us a little bit more now. So hats off to Lamar Consolidated and all those guys over there. And we're looking forward to Fort Bend Travis this week. They're a formidable opponent. We're no rest for the weary. So we got to get after it. I know Coach System and them guys will have a chance to get after us a little bit, and hopefully we get after them. So we're looking forward to it.
Both of you guys are playing our 5A programs, playing 6As this week. And I know, Coach Williams, you said you like putting those 6As in your non-districts. I want to ask you all each, as coaches, what do you get out of playing 6As? What are the challenges? What does playing a 6A, what does playing up present for you? Starting with Coach Williams, just that idea of playing a 6A and what it gets you ready for when you do get into your 5A non-district schedule.
Normally with a 6A team, they have more numbers, obviously. They have more students in their school, more students probably on their football team. So they're going to present you with more depth than you may get. I like to play the Eisenhowers, the Elkins, the athletic teams, the fast teams, the physical teams that's going to really push us and get us ready for district. We want to win every game, one at a time. But, if you want to challenge yourself, you want to do it in the non-district, the preseason, so you can get those, get your test out there. You can make your adjustments. You can get ready for the battle of the district in your season, which really counts because right now these two games don't mean anything towards the playoffs yet. So once you get those, get battle tested and ready to go, now you're going into district full stream, hopefully, and full, ready to go and get to that district.
And Coach McDowell?
Yeah, for us, it's been tough to even schedule anybody. So, like, if anybody wants to play, I just be like, let's play, regardless of classification. Some 6As don't want to play us, and I would imagine Coach Williams has the same thing because, the thought is 6A should beat up on a 5A just because they're 6A. And so, like, they have everything to lose and we have everything to gain since we're 5A. I don't necessarily see that as a case. The difference between 5A and 6A, really the difference is numbers, like Coach Williams was talking about, they have more depth. But as far as the top 22 or top 30-something players, we match up very well. They do have more to pick from. But it is all about, one, it's about getting a game. I really don't care, if it's 5A, 6A. And two, is making sure that, we don't want to go into a game where we're not prepared, to play somebody that's really good because we want to challenge our team all the time, So I do look to go – I'll play anybody, usually anybody. There are some exceptions of people we don't need to play, but for the most part, I'll try to play anybody I can regardless of classification. Because we played West Orange Stark a few years ago. We played pretty much all the Katy schools except Katy. We'll play anybody because I want to have a game and we want to be challenged.
Most of you coaches have programs that are established, that culture. You mentioned it is harder to schedule now against teams because most teams don't want to play a Foster or a Marshall for whatever reason it may be. At what point did you realize you got to the point where it's tougher to schedule those non-district games because of who you are becoming and because teams simply don't want to either play you also early in the season or they don't want the possibility of getting beat up by a 5A? Coach Williams, start with you.
Yeah, first of all, I won't play Shaun either. After the last time we played, I'm not going to play him either. But no, that is true. Once you establish yourself and you establish a consistency year in and year out as a competitor and hopefully compete for state championships, yes, you do find it much harder to find those opponents. But smart, Shaun said, you do want to be smart about it. It's some teams just don't want to play, because it's not necessarily because you're afraid of it, but because you want to have a good matchup, for what you're looking for. But it's important to get those important games. Though. If you can have a game, it's rather to go with that than to go without. And so as we look and talk to people, I really do look at those teams that maybe have more speed or maybe that can match our speed, or those physical athletic teams that play with us, because it's unfortunately you don't see people talk about our speed, but unfortunately a lot of times you don't see that same speed matched in your season. So you want to go against that speed and challenge our guys. And hey, this guy's going to run past you if you don't play your technique the right way, or this guy's going to be physical enough to push you 5 yards down the field if you're not physical enough as well. So you want to look for those good matchups of teams that can prepare you for your season and the teams that might match teams you're playing in the playoffs down the road. I mean, it's not, you want to take care week by week, but you also want to keep an eye on what's down in the road and what you're going to possibly face so you can get those matchups and get ready for that as well.
Coach McDowell.
Yeah, it's been a nightmare trying to find games the last 4 or 5 years, to be honest with you. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, some coaches just don't want to take on a challenge or have a perceived notion how your team is going to be, and really just don't want to play. They want to get a win. They would rather play somebody that they're way better of, and then get everybody to play. And sometimes wins mean more to them than being in a competitive game. It's really hard, and I know some of the bigger programs has that problem, like North Shore, Spring Westfield, Katy. It's like every time it becomes realignment time, it's like they got COVID. Nobody wants to be around them because Coach Joseph throws up that 3, and then everybody's like, no, I have a game for you, and they don't. I saw that with last year with all the cancellations with COVID games. Nobody wanted to play, and it was weird. And you call a guy and say, hey, I see you have a week 4. I need a week 4. Let's play, regardless of classification. and then they say no, and then you see them on a coaching board looking for a game. You're like, come on, man. So, so they preach competitiveness and toughness and all that stuff to their players, but they don't always exactly admit that themselves when they're talking about wins, because wins are the most important. I get it. But it makes it really tough, and it makes it tough on, every 2 years you just get reminded that we must be really good, or the perception of us must be that we're really good, because nobody wants to play us.
Absolutely. So, and I ran into a situation last year with COVID. We were looking for games, like maybe we're doing a bye week, and I even talked to Shaun, about possibly playing, and I just told her if we hadn't had a bye week that year, I thought it was important to at least get a bye week in before playoffs, as opposed to playing straight through. So I actually turned Shaun down, literally myself last year, because of that reason, so we can have a bye week and go into the playoffs with the bye week.
Awesome. I have one last question. You guys going into week 2 on Coach, you guys 68-34 win. How do you balance not getting too high from that and kids not getting too confident as you go in against Elkins with the district season right around the corner? And Coach McDowell, with you guys 1 or 2 plays away, where that's a different game probably if y'all execute and do what y'all used to do if y'all aren't so young. How do y'all balance that, just the highs and lows of coming off a big off a win or a loss coming after week 1? And what do you tell your team, and what do you, just expectation-wise before going to district, what does this second non-district game do for y'all as a team and as a expectations-wise? Coach Williams, starting with you.
Just keeping focused that it's 1 week. I told the guys after the game, it's good to have something correct. You don't want to peak. I'd rather, I don't want to win a game 68-0. First game thinking we're all great, we're all world, and then we don't have anything to work on. We got things to work on. Just like Shaun said earlier, we're going to start from square one. We're going to practice. We're going to regroup and go again, because we're going against a different team. It's a different week, and we're going to try to continue to get better. It's literally 1 week at a time. 1 week at a time. A long season. This is a marathon. So we're happy. We want them to enjoy it over the weekend. But hey, we're starting with Elkins. We're going to get, our game plan is going to be put in today. Our meetings are going to be today. We're going to get in that weight room and lift hard today. We're going to go out on the field and have a full pad practice, a full pad 2-hour practice today after school. So Eisenhower's behind us. It was going to focus ahead.
Coach McDowell.
Yeah, Friday night was tough. Little expectations and hurt feelings, and took it on the chin. And Coach Johnson, all them guys at Lamar did a great job against us, and their kids were ready to fight. And we got to find our fight. So we were able to have reality check Saturday, where we brought them up and film, and we give them the love sandwich, we call it. We tell them what they did good and love them in the front end, and really, really hammer on what they did bad, and then really love them. They had to leave Saturday feeling like we still had a chance. Like you can't win them all if you don't win the first one, but it ain't really about that. It's about winning each one every week and refocusing on what their specific job is and what their role is on this team, because there's shocks all over the place. Some played a lot, some played a little, some didn't play at all. They all been in practice whatsoever. So it's a lot of adjustment period and finding out what the new normal is. But the number one thing, win or lose, is you got to go back to work Monday, and you got to go back and refocus, and you got to get back on that field, and you just got to do the things that you do and make it routine. And that, and the kids got to know that you love them, win or lose. And that you're going to be there for them. And, if I could hug every one of them, I would. Some of them will hug a little tighter. They drop that ball next time. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to be all right, right? Because, 20 years from now, they might remember that we lost, but they're not going to remember how, but they're going to remember different things about it and stuff. But they all sting. Every loss stings, and every win is a great thing. But, we just got to move on and go back to work.
All right, so that concludes the Q&A section of this show. Big thanks to Dennis Silva, always coordinating that. Now we get to the extra fun part, where it's the pick'em part, where I'm 90% of the time wrong and only 10% of the time right. Shaun's ready. Oh.
There you go. I don't know if you can see that.
That's his trophy.
Definitely 5-0.
We don't even need a standings graphic here. We already know who's leading the pack heading into this week, because it was my bright idea.
Man, I gotta win at something.
Yeah, and it was my bright idea to bet against Connor Wigman. Yeah, that was my bright idea last week.
Appreciate you guys laughing. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, not very
we got a good slate of games this week. As I was going down the schedule, the first one is an interesting one because it's a Houston versus a DFW team, which is always fun. Craig Stump and his Atascocita Eagles make the trip up to Allen, Texas this week to take on Allen. Last year kind of took it on the chin from Allen. But this is an Atascocita team that is a year older. Gavin Session is a year older. And this offense seems to be rolling after beating up on Klein Collins last week. So that's the first game this week is Atascocita against Allen. Who wants to go first?
I'll go ahead and take that one. Hey, obviously, we're Houston. Two great programs. Allen, again, won several state championships. Atascocita has been there, has been on that road and that journey to get it done. And I really think they can have a chance this year. They have a lot of guys back, and like I said, they were rolling last week. Klein Collins is a very good football team, very good quality team. But Atascocita played physical last week, and they really put it to them. And they've been getting a lot of talk, a lot of attention this offseason for a reason. And I think they got a shot, so I'm going to go with Atascocita.
Whoa.
Nice. Hey, I love my H-Town guys. I really do. And I know they played well versus Klein Collins last week, but Allen, I think, is going to be too tough for him. I think they're going to hit him in the mouth a little bit. I think Coach Morris and those guys do a great job, and it's the second week, so I feel like they'll probably have a little bit better understanding what kind of team they have. Hopefully we all do. But if James is going to pick them, I'm going to have to go with Allen just because I feel like it's going to be a little much. So I'm taking Allen.
I agree. I'm taking Allen as well. I would love to see Atascocita beat Allen and get one for H-Town. I just think Allen's too tough. I just think they have too much going on. I think they're at home. I think that makes a difference. I don't know how much the travel affects Atascocita at all, back and forth, and just that bus ride. But I think Allen's just too tough at this point, especially this early in the season. And I got them. I think it's a lot closer than last year, but I think Allen wins.
So you got two Allens and one Atascocita. Where shall I pick? I had a rough week last week. Made some bad picks, but I'm feeling good about this one. I'm not going to bet against the Eagles. Now the question is, which Eagles am I not betting against? Because they're both Eagles. Gavin Session, I think, took it personal last year. That was his first start, I believe, or second start. It was a weird COVID year. But I think this is going to be a statement game by Atascocita. I think they're going to go up there. I think they're going to show the state how good they are this year. And I'm going to go Atascocita over the Allen Eagles.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So our second game this week is Spring against Klein Oak. Klein Oak kind of came out last week and put a hammering on somebody. I can't remember who they beat up on, but Klein Oak came out with a win last week. Spring, we all know their story, Bishop Davenport and company. So there you go. Spring versus Klein Oak on Thursday night. Who do you got?
I'll take this one first. I like Spring. I watched, they played Fort Bend Travis last week, and haven't watched that film since we played Travis this week. Spring is very talented. I like that quarterback. They do a great job. I think they're going to fix some things. I think the score could have been a lot uglier than it was against Travis. They had some drops here, and I think they're just getting started. I don't know much about Klein Oak, but I know that Spring, what I've seen of them so far, I'm impressed. So I got to go with Spring on this one.
I'll also take Spring as well. They have a tremendous senior group this year. I remember when those guys were sophomores and they played Travis a couple years ago. Gave them a great game. It was a high-scoring game. Might have been like 56-3 something. It was a really high-scoring game. But all those guys are back this year. They're returning close to 17 spring starters from last year. So Spring is definitely set up to have a great season this year. When you talk about Spring, talk about Westfield. Those are tough teams. And we talked about Westfield last week, but I really believe Spring's going to be physical with them. I'm always going to talk physical football, and they have those seniors coming back here in that great class. So I'll go with Spring on this one as well.
Yeah, I'll go Spring too. I like their defense last week. Fort Bend Travis generally has year in year out pretty good offenses, puts up good numbers, especially in the passing game. I thought Spring's defense for week one looked very good against a Travis team that has potential to be pretty potent. So I'm going Spring.
Yeah, I'm going to go Spring as well. Bishop Davenport, your QB1 is just too good. and he operates the offense really well. He's got a great connection with TJ Sims defensively. I really like Gerard Henderson on the defensive line. Big guy, pushes up front, can get in the backfield quickly. I think their defense is good. This is a spring team that went deep in the playoffs last year as well, so they've got experience. Now, I mean, don't sleep on this Klein Oak team. I don't think this is going to be a blowout game. I think PJ Hatter over at Klein Oak is emerging as a really good quarterback in this city, but this is going to be a big test for Klein Oak and new head coach Brandon Carpenter. But I'm going to go spring in this one. So that's game number 2. Game number 3, this game was a shootout last year because I was at it, and it ended up being like a 65-58 game. Tomball Memorial takes on Beaumont Westbrook. They have to travel down. Now, I know this is a different-looking Tomball Memorial team. Of course, Beaumont Westbrook also has Bryce Anderson back. But they won that game last year, so who do you have in Tomball Memorial against Beaumont Westbrook down in the Golden Triangle?
That's going to be a tough one. Especially going away for Tomball Memorial, going down there and playing there. That's going to be tough. And also, Tomball Memorial lost their stud last year, played quarterback for him, played receiver for him. I can't remember his name right now, but the way they played last week against Nimitz, they played pretty good. So I think it's going to be a good game. Like I said, it was high scoring last year. I think it could be a little bit different this year. I don't know a whole lot about Westbrook, but if I have to go with a team right now, I'm going to go ahead and go with Tomball Memorial.
Yeah, I agree with James, Coach Williams on this. I think having been around Tomball Memorial and that staff and knowing what they got, I know they lost some key players. And I know Westbrook's going to be good, but golly, they're a different attack. The way they do some option stuff, the way they play great defense, they get those kids to really play hard. I'm not saying that the Westbrook kids don't, but my gut feeling is telling me that Tomball Memorial is going to be a tough out for those guys, and I think they'll come ready to play. So I'm going to take Tomball Memorial.
I like Westbrook. I like Bryce Anderson and what he's able to do there for them. I like Tomball Memorial. I like exactly what Coach said. They can do a lot of different stuff and provide different challenges, and they're pretty smart as far as the way they use their personnel. But I think Westbrook, from an athleticism standpoint, has an edge just early, and I think Bryce can really do some things against really any defense. I mean, there's a reason he's going to A&M, so I'm going to go with Westbrook, but and a close one.
Yeah, what Dennis is talking about with Bryce Anderson, he's just a freak athlete. He's going to put this offense on his back. I mean, really, I think at the next level, he's going to play defense. I don't even think he's going to be on the offensive side of the ball. But, he started quarterback last year for them and really kind of runs a lot out of the option and stuff. But, Sam Parker and the job he does over there at Tomball Memorial, he's going to have these guys ready to go. He's going to have them ready to travel. I'm going to go Tomball Memorial as well. I think they just have more weapons. I know replacing Joseph Manjack, who, Coach, you were referring to, who went to USC, is a big piece. But they have 1,000-yard rusher Richard Rodriguez back. They got other pieces as well. Plus, they looked really good last week. So I'm going to go Tomball Memorial in this one, just barely over Beaumont Westbrook. I think it's going to be a close game. Third game of the week. This one's going to be fun. Ridge Point takes on Dickinson, which is actually going to be the VYPE Thursday night football game. Thursday night showdown game returns this year. AT&T Sportsnet for your viewing pleasure on Thursday night. So Ridge Point takes on Dickinson, two teams that particularly, they usually see each other in the playoffs at some point, usually second round, third round. So what are y'all thoughts on Ridge Point and Dickinson?
Take that first round.
Yeah, I'll take it. You want me to take it? I'll take it. I like Ridge Point. I think what they were able to do at Pearland this past weekend, I think they probably just manhandled Pearland a little bit. Talked to Coach Tullis a little bit. Just some freaky plays that went against them. But for the most part, I think this might be Ridge Point's year to really make a splash of what they're doing. Second year with Coach LeFavors, the systems and culture kind of in place. And they got some dudes, and I think they're using them. And I'm really excited about Ridge Point. And I love Coach Nelson down there in Dickinson. Really don't know, haven't seen them play. I know they did a great job against Manville this weekend. So that's a big time win in itself. But I think Ridge Point's going to provide them with different challenges just based on size and speed that Dickinson might not be ready for week 2. And so I'm going to go with Ridge Point on this one.
I'll match that, Shaun. I'll go with Ridge Point as well. Coach LeFavor is doing a great job again his second year. The way they took care of Pearland this weekend was impressive. But you look at Dickinson, Coach Nelson's team, they battled, man. That was all the way down to the wire. Literally, I think a missed field goal was the termination of the game. I think it's going to be a tremendous game. I really do. I'm going to go with Rich Point, Bert Emanuel's son at quarterback. He's definitely a special player. But I think Rich Point is playing right now a very good brand of football, just physical football. And yeah, it's going to be a great game. I mean, it's really going to be a toss-up, to be honest with you, but I'll go with Rich Point.
Yeah, I'll go Rich Point. I wasn't surprised that they beat Pearland, but how they beat Pearland and just the way they went about was really impressive, especially just coming right out of the gate for week one. They looked like a team that was 5-6 games into the season, with just the way they performed and executed and took advantage of plays that were there. Ezel Jolly at running back, really impressed. I thought he had an outstanding game, and I think that was a big piece they wanted to see. What did they have in the run game, and what was he capable of? And when you don't have to put so much on Bert Emanuel's shoulders at quarterback, Marvin Session had a great game, for instance. I think they just have so many weapons, offense and defense, and both of those lines have size. I think Rich Point is tough, and like what coaches were saying earlier, just this looks like to be kind of like a year of destiny for them if everything plays right. They have the tools, they have the coaching, they have the talent, and they have the experience. And if things go right, this could be a long season for Rich Point. In a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dennis, you made it sound bad there for a second.
Yeah,
this could be a long season. Coach LeFevor's about to text you and be like, what do you mean it's going to be a long season? What are you talking about?
Yeah, in a good way.
I agree. Dickinson's coming off that grinding game against Manville. They had to grind it out. Ridgepoint coming off the blowout win over Pearland, 2 different styles of wins. And, I mean, just on paper, I think Ridgepoint's just got all the pieces. I think Dickinson has a couple questions still to answer. I mean, they did score 42 last week, or 45 last week. But, man, Ridgepoint just looks like a well-oiled machine early on. I think, honestly, this is a bigger game for Dickinson than it is for Ridgepoint, just because I think Dickinson has to show that they can get up and get against, an opponent that they might see in the playoffs come second, third round, which has been kind of their bugaboo of the past years, running into the North Shores and the Ridge Points in the early rounds. But I'm going to go Ridge Point in this one on the Thursday night game. I think they've just got too much on the offensive side of the ball and defensive as well. The last game, this is kind of a wild card game just because I was looking through the schedules as I was going. I was like, man, I need another game. But this one kind of piqued my interest. It goes down to the 4A level. It's the Fulshear Chargers, who are coming off a 46-0 victory last week. Looked really good. And they get to take on Big Bad El Campo against Ruben Owens II and company. This is power against power when it comes to the 4A level. And I'm interested to see y'all's thoughts on this one.
I know. Let's start with
hold on. Power what at the 4A level power? Because you saying the Fulshear Chargers are a 4A power?
Well, no, I'm saying I'm not saying I'm saying El Campo's a 4A power. But yeah, Fulshear impressed me last week with a 46-0 win.
I'll take this one since the Fulshear Chargers are in my district here. There's no doubt in my mind that the best hair by any coach is owned by Coach Nick Caduti, right? There's no doubt in my mind. And he'll tell you, he's as pretty as they come. Fulshear, and I like Coach Fleming a lot, Fulshear has improved. We've scrimmaged them in the freshman level. I've watched them scrimmage versus Terry. They're improved, and their future is going to be bright. However, El Campo got some dudes. They're like, number 2 in all of 4A right now, 4A Division I. They've got some of the best recruits, if not the best one, coming, and they're loaded, right? They're loaded. I know Coach got those guys rolling. Slot T, wing T, whatever it is they run, it don't matter. I think it'll be interesting early. I think they'll try to feel each other out like boxers, and then the heavyweight will take over, and I don't even think it'll be close. Depends on what the game plan is that Fulshear has, but I don't know if any of us could tackle Ruben Owens right now if we wanted to, and so I think it's going to be interesting, but I think it's going to be a blowout, to be honest, and I think that it's good effort by the Chargers, but the Riceburgs might be too much. So I'm going to go with El Campo.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. I think it's kind of the difference of programs where El Campo, that consistent state team. Like you said, Ruben Owens is a tremendous running back, and so tackling him is going to be a chore. But hey, Fulshear's coming. They got new leadership there, and like I said, no, disrespect to Coach Fleming who was there before, but they're definitely improved. They're playing great football right now, and they're trying to get to that level where El Campo is. So, they're going to be much better. They're going to have a good season, I believe, and it's going to be really good in the future for that program. But yeah, El Campo's already there. They already have that tradition. I think I think they'll take care of it pretty good, but the Fulcher's going to fight them. Fulcher's going to give them a good game and give them everything they have, but I'll definitely take Campo on this one.
So I'm going to go the other way. I think my mind says El Campo, but something about Fulcher this year, the kids just buying in and just buying into the culture of Kaduri so quickly, and they all seem so happy and so just like they're having fun, and I'm really I think that's really cool. I'm going to go with Fulcher because I think they're young kids that believe they can win. I think these are kids who think they can go out there and they can beat El Campo. And I think that's half the battle. If you think you're going to go in and just lose, you might as well just pack it up already. But I feel like their confidence level at this point, their swagger, I do think they have some skilled kids that a lot of people don't know about and are on the up. And I do think my mind wants to say that Fulcher is the future and El Campo's now. But just to go against the grain a little bit, I like Fulcher. I like the talent they have. I'm going to pick them as, like Josh said, a wild card, and I'm going to go with Fulcher.
That's the way to be great, man. That's the way to step out there and be great.
Sounds good.
I respect
You
it.
had a great argument.
I respect it. I don't agree, but I respect it.
I think they can win, and I think that's half the battle.
And, if they don't think they can win, then they don't need to play football.
Exactly.
I love it.
Hey,
Hey, stick with it, Dennis. I like it.
True. How many teams do you know that you've seen, though, think they're beaten before they get off the bus? Right? I mean, I think that's a thing that actually exists. And I think these Fulcher kids, swagger and poise, and they're cool, and they're having a lot of fun. I think that accounts for something. And it's going to be – it probably could be a blowout in El Campo's way, probably, but I'm going to lean towards Fulcher because I think they have something sneaky good going on.
I agree. I'm with that.
Yeah, they were impressive last weekend in that 46-0 win. Now, granted, I think they were playing Cleveland, which no disrespect to Cleveland, but Cleveland's a lot different than El Campo.
Oh.
I think, like what Dennis says, I think Fulcher's going to put up a fight. I think this is a different-looking Fulcher team. I think they're going to put up fights this year. But, man, that combination of Ruben Owens and John Davis in the backfield, that's just a different beast. It's a different beast. I'm going to go El Campo. I think Chad Worrell gets win number 2 of his run here at El Campo, and I think they're going to go. So maybe Dennis might win the pick'em this week just because of that Fulcher pick. We'll see. Cadetti's going to have to send you something. If you send you a fruit basket or something if they
some
win.
Hair gel.
Hair gel? I was going to say hair gel, yeah.
And I only saying that because I saw him this morning. That's all.
Was it in pristine condition?
Beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. Me and Coach Williams can't relate.
No, definitely me. I'm just no. You'll see how many of his players have the hair now, the gel. Then you'll know the buy-in. There you go.
True.
Right.
That's it. That's where. Yeah.
The kids aren't
gel ain't never hit this head before. I don't even know how that feels. So.
We've now concluded the show on hair talk, and next week we'll be discussing our favorite, who's the best looking hair coach in this Greater Houston area, which apparently Kaduddy seems to be running the league on this. So
Yep.
Well, perfect. Those are the pick'ems for this week. We'll see how we do, and then we'll get our standings updated and see if Coach McDowell continues to be the top dog of the group. If he goes to 10-0 this week, see how long that undefeated record can go for Coach McDowell is the question at this point, since he started the year undefeated.
I'd rather have the alternative. I'd
rather be 1-0 this week, right?
1-0 this week is the key. But before we close, real quick, I do want to close on this. Thoughts and prayers to everyone in the state of Louisiana right now as Hurricane Ida hit on Sunday night, and a devastating hurricane, Category 4. Our thoughts and prayers to everyone in the state of Louisiana, as some of them have evacuated to the city of Houston and to the state of Texas. And I know everybody here has been through hurricanes. Both of you coaches dealing with hurricanes during the middle of football season is very tough. So I'll just open the floor to anyone who wants to have some thoughts on Hurricane Ida and just thoughts to the state of Louisiana before we close the show.
Yeah, we wish them the best. I don't have any family in there, but I know our kids do. And I know it's kind of one of those deals, it's like they just can't catch a break. And being on the anniversary of Katrina, I mean, God, what a kind of a little bit of a slap in the face. It just goes to show you that, family and relationships and stuff like that mean way more than anything that we could do. So, prayers to them, thoughts are with them. And, I know they're probably the strongest region ever because they keep getting hit. So they've been there before, and they'll just keep getting back up. So I'm not overly worried because I know that's a very, very strong region and people.
Yeah, just thoughts and prayers for all of them as well. Again, like Shaun said, it's definitely this different situation. And I've become good friends with some who came here from Katrina. And I know a lot of them this past weekend, it takes 5 hours maybe to drive from there to here. But this weekend, some of them took 10 and 15 hours of the traffic trying to get here and pick up their families. And, some of them left everything they own back there, and hoping that the hurricane wouldn't destroy it all. It's unimaginable what those families are going through. But it puts everything in perspective. It's about family. Football is great. Football we love what we do, but we want to love each other and take care of each other. And as they come to Houston, we want to embrace them and hopefully pray that their houses and belongings and everything will be protected and they can go back home hopefully very, very soon.
Yeah, same thing. Those coaches said it very well. Just as far as the toughness and resilience of just this region in general when it comes to weather disasters like this and just bouncing back and rebuilding and helping each other as far as living situation, food, whatever it may need. I think you saw Mattress Mac today has sending a bunch of trucks already out there. So it seems like the preparation is at least seems like it's where it needs to be at this point. But you just hate to see that for their families, just losing everything you have with the houses and where you work at and just coming over here but I think this is where you see the good in people. This is where you're reminded like there's so much more good in the world than bad. And this is where people help out each other. So you hate to see it under these circumstances, but you do see it just in the resilience and just the way people support for one another and look out for one another. So that's always good to see. And just thoughts and prayers with them too, as well as they get through this.
Yeah, I remember after Hurricane Harvey, because I live in Kingwood. Kingwood was devastated by Hurricane Harvey. I remember going down Kingwood Drive, and it was the Cajun Army from Louisiana. They were lined in Kingwood Drive with boats to go get people. So state of Texas is big. Houston, if you have any boats or equipment or anything that can be sent to the state of Louisiana, be sure to check with local officials there to make sure that you can get in and be safe and take care of them. But our thoughts and prayers from the state of Texas and the state of Louisiana this week as Hurricane Ida hit earlier this week. So that's how I'll end the show this week. Coaches, we appreciate your time once again. We will see you next Monday for more of the Coaches Corner here on VYPE.com.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be on as always.
Heck yeah. Let's do it again next week.